The thing that people should be thinking about is apps and users. That's what makes Sol go up.
Before we dive into the show, I want to share a bit about Altitude. Altitude is a global business account built on stablecoins, but fully connected to traditional fiat workflows. You get local banking details, international transfers, corporate cards, and free on and off ramps. For CFOs, stablecoins made payments faster, but slowed down everything else. Altitude changes this with invoicing, bill pay, 5% APY, and accounting integrations, all tied to your stablecoin treasury. I first met the team behind Altitude in 2021, and they were working on their first product, Squads Multisig. Fast forward to today, and Squads has become the default multisig on Solana, securing over $15 billion of value for over 450 teams. The team has brought the same level of rigor and thoughtfulness to Altitude, and I encourage all listeners to check it out. You can learn more in our show description below. Lucas, thank you for taking the time and joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Just to get into it, Jito's been around for quite a while, since 2022. You guys have been a few things during that span. You've been working on MEV, you have the client, you have Jito Sol, and now you have BAM. So there's a few things, and they're all related. But to maybe folks that aren't familiar with you guys today, how would you describe Jito?
We actually put a good post about this recently because I think we've kind of struggled to explain what Jito is. There's a lot of layers to onion. So I would say we are a market layer company, or we focus around the market layer. And basically we help make markets more efficient on Solana. So there's kind of a few pieces of that. There's a lot of things around block space in particular that we focus on especially. But yeah, you can kind of think of us like helping make markets more efficient on Solana.
Nice. No, it's a very, very broad, but also it's one of those theses that I think everybody understands immediately. But maybe diving a click deeper, when you say making markets more efficient, you're not just talking about like block. You're not just talking about like transaction speeds or whatever, or transaction fees. You're talking more about like the structure of block production and everything that goes along with it. But yeah, could you expand a bit more on that?
I think it's helpful to view it through like a few kind of phases in Jito and Solana's growth. So yeah, we started in 2021. We launched the first products in 2022. And I kind of like the analogy I used for our first product, the Jito Solana validator client and the block engine, is kind of like Cloudflare for Solana. So we took a lot of spam off the network and offloaded it and did a lot of like filtering and processing on our servers to figure out like what was good and what was bad, essentially. And that kind of scaled. I think we launched in the end of 2022. We had like 3 to 4% of stake, and then just did a lot of BD and like talking to validators and stakers and all that through 2023 and 2024. I think at the peak, that was around like 90% of market share on the network. And so yeah, like that basically helped scale through all of 2023. And then we did our airdrop, the Jito airdrop at the end of 2023. And then like activity after that was kind of just like a straight line up. It was like Radium, Pumped Up Fun, Memecoins, markets, just more markets on Solana. And yeah, we were just really helped the network scale. And we're kind of like the main way to land transactions throughout that time. And as the core kind of like software and the network got a little more efficient, I think we kind of started looking to see like what was next. And that's when we came up with BAM, which is the block assembly marketplace. And that's kind of like the newer product that we're rolling out right now. It's right around 30% of stake.
Nice. And we'll dive into BAM and sort of how you guys grew the Jito Sol product. But let's maybe take a step back and go back to the beginning of your journey in crypto. You got into crypto sort of with MEV as your initial sort of area of interest. You saw the Dan Robinson's and the Flashbots blog post. I believe it was 2019. But yeah, talk to me just about the early days of the Lucas story in crypto.
My first kind of dipping my toes in crypto was 2017. So that was like I think November, the end of that cycle was around December. So I got in at like the very end of it. It's like Ripple, Litecoin, Bitcoin, all these like, some of those are just, I guess some of those are still around, but a lot of this stuff are just like, is not around anymore.
Right.
But yeah, kind of started dipping my toes and then just followed everything throughout the bear market. So it's like I was really into VeChain for a while. Got into a few other kind of networks, mainly from like an investing standpoint and just reading about it. And then yeah, I discovered MEV in I think the end of 2020. So I read that article. I was hanging out in this project. There's a project called KeeperDAO or Rook at the time, and they were kind of doing some interesting Mev things. So I was hanging out on that Discord a lot, met some people in there, read Dan Robinson's article, and I was like, okay, this seems like pretty interesting, pretty new. No one's talking about this. It's kind of like high frequency trading-esque. So yeah, I was working in a startup during the day in San Francisco, and then I would go home and work on this bot, this Mev bot until like 2 or 3 in the morning. And so I did that from like the end of probably like November 2020 to probably like January 2021.
And was that basically like searching? Were you also doing sort of vanilla liquidations? Like what was the type of stuff that you were doing at the time?
Yeah, mainly just arbitrage.
Arbitrage, okay.
So pretty simple. And it was right as like Flashbots was taking off. So there's kind of like they were gaining market share fast. And I was trying to do this on the side, but it's extremely, extremely competitive, even at the time, and like probably even way before me. It's like I had a few good trades, but it was just like mostly break even or like slightly losing money because I was just didn't have the time to dedicate to it.
How did you go from like looking at some investments in crypto, looking at some tokens, to sort of finding like KeeperDAO and like getting into the weeds? Was it just like was there something that appealed to you from the technology side? Was it like you enjoyed the trading component? Like what motivated you to spend your nights, your weekends, and working on this like second job almost?
I learned about it on Twitter, I think. So some people were kind of talking about it. The project had like pretty good price action at the time too. So I was like, okay, what is this? Why do people keep talking about it? So yeah, I started hanging out on the Discord a lot more. And yeah, I mean, at the time, people were making a lot of money on these trading bots, like doing arbitrage and liquidations and things like that. So I was like, okay, this looks pretty interesting. I think the novelty of it was pretty interesting too. I don't have like any finance experience or any high frequency trading experience. So it felt like a kind of approachable way to get into that and figure out if I could make money and like what's going on here and how does the tech work. So that was kind of like where I went from kind of like investing angle to building.
Nice. And were you doing this like by yourself? Did you have other people you were working on this with? Sort of maybe folks you eventually started Jito with?
Yeah, just by myself. Yeah. So yeah, I was like talking to people. Some people I was like talking to a lot were kind of going along this journey with me as well.
Yeah.
It's like we'd like share hints and like tips with each other.
But nothing too transparent.
No.
Yeah. Checks out. Okay, so you were looking at MEV on Ethereum in 2020, and how did you like what was next? Like obviously you ended up starting something of your own, but what were the weeks, months like leading up to that? At what point were you like, hey, maybe there's something I can work on full time on Solana?
I was working at like a robotics company for a bit and then doing this, and then I quit that job, wanted to go do something on my own. I was looking at robotics for a bit and ended up getting a job working on LiDAR for probably like 9 months after this kind of like, I think it's like 4 or 5 month gap, just kind of playing around with like sensors and things like that. And then that was at like a much bigger company. And I was like, okay, this is nice, but I want like more responsibility. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to like start looking to do my own thing. My dad is an entrepreneur, knew a bunch of entrepreneurs growing up. So I was like, I always knew I wanted to do my own thing and kind of be in control of my own destiny. So that's kind of when I was like, okay, still in crypto, did some Mev stuff on Ethereum. There's this cool thing called Solana, started reading more about it. And yeah, I think just really bought into Anatoly's vision, and everyone else that was working there seemed super smart, and they seemed like they were taking the right approach when a bunch of people said that it wouldn't work. I didn't think there was any reason it couldn't work. So yeah, I kind of just like took that, did this first Solana hackathon, and decided I want to do something. So yeah, I kind of took the Mev background and the Solana experience and married it into Jito.
And at the time with Solana, again, this is turning the clock back to what, like 2021. What was the vision they were pitching that was maybe differentiated for you? Because at the time, yeah, like not many people were, it was just very different. Like Solana was nowhere near what it is today. And things were, it was really just getting off the ground, right?
Everyone thought that L1s couldn't scale.
Okay.
That's like why we have all these L2s.
Right.
I mean, there's other reasons too, but I would say that of course, like the 65K TPS, which like still really hasn't been like hit on mainnet, was like the big marketing. I mean, you can hit it, but yeah, I would say like people, they're like, oh, you can't do this, the blockchain trilemma, you can't scale a network like this, or is like, this is going to take a lot of compute, this is not decentralized. And I was just like, yeah, that's all bullshit, like this is going to work. So yeah, I would say that's kind of like the approach. And then when I looked at Anatoly's background, I used to do embedded systems, like microprocessors and really like resource constrained devices. And so when I looked at Anatoly's background and the rest of the team, they were all working in like the similar area. And so I was like, okay, these guys, like, if you want to work on like microprocessors, you really need to understand how computers work. And they seemed like they had the background for it, and they weren't just like some hype project.
Were you working and living in San Francisco at the time? So similar to the early Solana founding team as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned early on, like you had this hackathon that you were part of. Was that like the first Solana hackathon, or what was the? I don't even remember it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I think it started with an I. I can't remember what it was called, but
It was online.
yeah,
Okay.
it was fully remote hackathon. It was the first one. I think it's the one that like Mango and Drift and a few others came out of. So yeah, I did that. I worked on this like decentralized VPN type thing, and then I also there's a programming framework on Solana called Anchor that was super early. That was written by Armani, who is the CEO of Backpack, and worked a lot with him on like a Python version of that as well. But that was kind of like diving into Solana, and I was like, okay, this all sucks, and there's a lot of room for improvement from like a developer standpoint. But I think that's what was interesting about it, is like there's no documentation, no one knows how anything works. It like doesn't really work all the time. But I felt like that was also like a lot of opportunity as well.
So you were like, met all these people online, did the online hackathon. At what point did you actually like meet someone else in crypto who was working on Solana? Was that like, did you end up going to one of the hacker houses, or was this later?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot to do all remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a really early event in San Francisco at some cafe that a bunch of like OG Solana people were at. Like Daffy from Mango is there, Genesis Go, Barrett from like Cypher, and more recently Ranger. Who else is there? There was a few other people there, but that was like the first like in-person event.
Is it fair to say like a lot of these grassroots things that Solana did in the early days helped, but it was also just like the core messaging and the core mission of like building a scalable L1 that drew you in, and you're like, early on you're already like, hey, I think I'm going to spend most of my time here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they attracted a very unique type of engineer with having no documentation, because you just had to read through everything and figure out how it works.
Right.
I think that attracted a very specific type of engineer,
as opposed to like making it perhaps as opposed to sort of attracting like a mass audience of developers, or?
Yeah. I mean, you have to get there eventually, but it wasn't there at the time, because like everything was Ethereum based, and all the other EVM L1s and L2s, like you could basically copy paste everything. Or on Solana, like the SVM. There wasn't like a ton of open source code. For us, like the validator client, there was no documentation for it. Like the code is the documentation. So I think he just attracted like a very dedicated type of engineer or builder.
Got it.
In those early days.
And you think that sort of was helpful in the sense of just self-selecting for folks that maybe were willing to go deeper, or what do you think the benefits of that approach? Maybe I don't know if that was like an intentional decision at the time.
Not.
Yeah, probably not. But
I think it was just like a resourcing thing.
Right.
Like we gotta like, they were a bunch of like ex-tech people that worked at startups, and like the model at startups is just like ship no matter what. We don't have time for like resources. We don't have time for like research or documentation or all this stuff. Just like we got to ship. So I think they kind of attract a crowd that is just like figure it out and ship.
Okay, so you went sort of deep into Solana. You were tinkering and just experimenting with stuff. What was the genesis of Jito? Like, how did you've been looking for an idea? When did that sort of aha moment click where you were like, hey, maybe I do have something?
The Mev background definitely helped. The hackathon idea was like completely different, and I was kind of trying to figure out like, what do I want to build here? So did a lot of ideation, just like bouncing ideas off the wall, a lot of like thinking, and yeah, I think at the time something else that was happening at the time, which I think it was BSC was really taking off, and they had a ton of spam, a ton of failed transactions. In Ethereum did as well until like the gas got super expensive. So I kind of looked at that. I was like, well, Solana is even faster and even cheaper. So there's going to be these spam issues here as well. So that was kind of like where I started with Jito. I was like, okay, there's some like things that need to be worked out on Mev on this blockchain. And I kind of have to make a bet on one blockchain. So that was, my bet was Solana. And yeah, I kind of just like started figuring out how to make it a little more efficient, and saw that there was definitely room for improvement.
Got it. So initially the core thesis was just very much Mev will be an issue on Solana, if not already, and I'm gonna try to solve it in whatever way the solution ends up looking like, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you like raise money off of that idea? Did you like how did you make the startup a startup, so to say?
Yeah. The actual idea was, I guess now I'm thinking about it, the first idea was slightly different. I think the first idea was back running. So like people, order flow is valuable. If you can back run it, you can give people rebates. And that was the initial idea that we kind of started pitching on, and we raised $2.1 million on that idea in I think it was August 2021. This is when we got the term sheet. And so yeah, that was the original idea. And then we started kind of looking at the validator client. Okay, how do we back run? There's also the spam thing going on. There's a lot of like stuff in this like kind of block building area that we could play around with. And I think the thing that we kind of did like a little mini pivot when we switched to the block building side, because we saw the success that Flashbots was having at the time. So it was like back in the mining days. So mining pools control, there was a small number of mining pools that controlled a large amount of stake. So they would just get adoption super fast, because they would get one mining pool to get on, and that would be like 15% of the network.
It's like you can get all of them in like a 6-person group chat.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we saw that, and we kind of saw what was happening there. I was like, okay, well, the way that we want to do back running in the client, you can't even do it today, just because there's like too much randomness and like too much jitter and all this stuff. And then the other thing was I was like, okay, there's gonna be a race to build some type of Mev focused validator client, and the first mover advantage there is going to be really big.
Right. So that was the thesis you already had in like 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Yeah, we signed the term sheet. Zana and I, we backing up like 2 months, met on Twitter through someone.
You only knew him for 2 months, and then you
2 or 3 months.
Oh wow, it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
like? Why did you trust him? Why did you decide to? That's like not a super long time to know someone.
Yeah, we hopped on a lot of calls and just got good vibes from him.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we were working together pretty well because it was like just us, and we're like trying to figure out the future and like brainstorming, and I think we hit it off pretty well.
Got it.
So yeah, we did that and then raised in the end of 2021. Our first time meeting was at the first breakpoint in Lisbon in 2021.
Okay.
And
Wait, did you raise before or after Breakpoint?
we signed the term sheet, but in like August 2021, but it didn't close until like December.
Got it.
So I think partially me being first time founders, like not moving it fast enough. And then also is like the peak of the bull.
Right.
Like I think Solana peaked during Breakpoint 2021.
Yeah.
I think hit like what, like 250 or something. So yeah, it was just crazy to close that. Yeah, we got the money in the end of 2021 so we could start hiring people.
It's good timing.
Yeah.
And then what did the first, obviously like late 2022 FTX and everything happens, which impacts all of crypto, but especially Solana. But maybe what did 2022 leading up to that look like for you guys?
So the money in the door? We hired, I think our first hire was like January or February, and then March, and then April. And there's just a lot of like R&D and building.
Right.
So like, we have this thing that we want to do. We got to break it down into a bunch of small chunks and prove that we can do it. And so a lot of it was focused on doing that and building the team for that. So like, can we control the ordering of transactions in the block? And like, can we build this like whole simulation block engine thing? And, there's a bunch of other pieces there as well. But it was really focused on that. And then, we went into Breakpoint. I guess the other thing we were working on was Jito Sol,
right,
the liquid staking token. So we were figuring out how to do that at the same time. I think like 2 weeks before we launched Jito Sol, 2 weeks before Breakpoint, we launched Jito Sol. And then 1 week before we launched the validator client in the block engine, Jito Solana.
This was late 2022 you launched.
Yeah, right before Breakpoint.
Right before Breakpoint.
And then, Breakpoint was great. Talking about what we're doing. People were kind of still laughing at us because like Solana wasn't anything at all. And then on the way home, like shit hit the fan.
FTX. Yeah. We won't get too deep into sort of FTX. It's been well covered, but what was that like as a builder in Solana over the next few months, next year?
It was definitely rough. I think the thing that was frustrating is that there's so many good people working on Solana that were not associated with any of the stuff that went down outside of Solana. But for some reason, I think it's just like crypto Twitter and groups, they just like to like team up on people. Right. So it was like Solana was just like the punching bag. So that was kind of frustrating. Obviously, like there wasn't a ton going on just like market wide, but even on Solana, like there wasn't a ton going on. Right. That were like people were like really using the chain. But there was a ton of builders behind the scenes that were just like waiting and like kept building and building. We discussed pivoting like once or twice during that time, but decided to really double down. Because we opportunistically raised. So we did the raise in end of 2021, and then we got approached for more money in like March or April of 2022. Nice. So we decided to take that. So then we had like plenty of runway. So
build up the war chest before everything happened.
Yes. Good. Yeah. If someone offers you money, you should usually take it. Because you never know what'll happen. But we decided to double down on Solana, and it's kind of a tough decision, but I think we had the right team. They believed in Solana. They believed in Zana and myself. And so, we just kind of like kept grinding and growing the stake on the client and doing all the BD for Jito Sol and just like hustled a lot.
Talk to me about what the BD was like. I think everyone knows the story of like, hey, getting sort of stake from like a few percentage to over 90%. But in those early days, like, are you running just like is it like B2B sort of SaaS sales? Were there specific playbooks you used? It's like, were you guys just like trying to talk to all the validators and build trust sort of, and like what was the process of doing that in the early days actually like?
Yeah, it was just a lot of brute force.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopping on validator calls, hanging out in the Discord. Yeah, I think it was like really selling the vision, because there wasn't really any activity on Solana in 2023.
Yeah.
Like priority fees were probably like $1 million.
So it's like
total, or
so it's like, hey,
so small.
Work with us, and if activity picks up theoretically at some given point, you and your users, your / stakers will benefit.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this like, it's not going to do any worse. So
it's a free option.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like a lot of like talking to validators, selling them on this vision and like what we do and why it's important. And yeah, I think we grew from when we launched, I think we were like 3 or 4% of stake. And then I think end of 2023, middle to end of 2023, we were probably around like 40% of stake.
What do you think got people over the line? Was it because even if something is like low downside, sort of free call option, like that doesn't mean you'll convert them as users? Like, was it?
Yeah.
Do you think it was just them believing in you guys as a team? Was it seeing sort of validation from the market? And in some ways, like what? Like, there's lots of clients that sort of that someone can use. What got them actually over the line? If you had to think back about a factor.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of trust building in this. And then I think seeing the success that Flashbots had and like how much money they were making the network for Ethereum was also helpful. It's like, hey, this can happen here too. We just need like this validator software needs to be running, and we need to see more activity. And we can definitely try to control both, and we're doing our best to control one of these things. But yeah, there's just like a lot of brute force, trust building, showing up on the validator calls. There's like a weekly or monthly validator call where all the validators just chat about what's going on in the network, and people can share updates and things like that. So going on that was pretty helpful as well.
Nice. Getting to know your users.
Yeah. And like there was every once in a while, like this is pretty good marketing, there was like a really big tip that would go through. It's like someone would arbitrage something and pay like 100 SOL tip. And so that was like really good marketing too. It's like, hey, this arbitrage got captured 100 SOL. That's like enough for your validator to run for like 3 years.
Still happens.
Yeah. That was pretty helpful too.
So there's no secret sauce. It was just time in market and like showing up consistently and like allowing validators to like put faces to what you guys were doing pretty much.
Yeah. I wish there was secret sauce, but I think it's just like telling the story. Like making people feel something, and not just there wasn't like really any like numbers to focus on at that point. Like, oh, we can increase your revenue by like 50%.
Right.
So it's kind of just like selling this vision and trying to manifest it.
Makes sense. And what was the sort of reaction of other stakeholders in Solana? And feel free to take this in any direction, but like, yeah, like MEV is something that is highly political in any blockchain. There's like lots of different stakeholders in the supply chain. There's different types of MEV that some are more sort of have a more positive perception than others. Like there's lots of angles to take this, but what was it like as an early builder sort of working on MEV in this like nascent ecosystem? Did you enjoy the maybe political side of it?
Yeah, there wasn't really any politics at the time.
Okay.
Just because like
there's nothing
was happening. So that was way easier. It's like way different now. There's a lot of stakeholders, and you have to like try to balance the needs and wants of everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the time there was no competition.
Okay.
Everyone outside of Solana thought it was dead. Right. And even within Solana, like there wasn't a ton of, there's like borrow and lend, and like there's like a small meme coin every once in a while. But yeah, it was much simpler. So I think generally like people were supportive. Like they were making every once in a while they'd make a lot of money. So like to them it was I think they were pretty excited about it.
So it sounds like things have gotten a lot more sort of interesting and maybe political since then. Like, can you speak just a little bit more about that?
There's a lot of stakeholders involved now because it's gotten so successful, which is a blessing and a curse. Feel like we try to balance what every stakeholder wants the best that we can. And other people might take different trade-offs on that. But yeah, we're really focused on like users and applications because those are the best things. So we're willing to make sacrifices that may decrease revenue because we think if we focus on users and apps, that will make Solana more successful in the long run.
My memory's a little fuzzy here, but would shutting down the public mempool be one example of that? Like you talked about sort of prioritizing your users and apps, but can you remind listeners and myself also just like what that decision was, like why that was maybe prioritizing the public good?
We had this product called the mempool, which basically exposed transactions before they got processed by the validator. And the thought there is like you can more efficiently arbitrage if you can see something ahead of time, which was definitely the case for a while. And then when Memecoins started picking up, people started sandwiching and using it to sandwich. And so, yeah, that's not really what you want to see in like something that you create. Obviously, like there was a lot of money to be made, but and people are like, oh, their revenue is going to crash after they shut it down, like all of it's sandwiching. And like, that was just like a tiny little drop in the bucket, like all that stuff. That was like the first time where I think things got super political. Well, no, it wasn't even political. I think it was just like super stressful.
Right.
Because it's like, this is like, there's a lot, this is a big decision to make. And I think people take different forms of like there's like a MEV accelerationist, and then there's like the decelerationist as well. So yeah, like on one side, the accelerationists are like, just let everyone get sandwiched. Like it's their fault. If one person, if they make more yield than the others, then they're going to concentrate stake and take over the network and like all this stuff. And then on the other side, it's like, well, this is like in a world where there's soon to be basically infinite block space or plenty of block space for the users on all the users today. Why would they want to trade on a network where they're getting sandwiched? So, yeah, like I guess like Base and all these other L2s like Arbitrum, Optimism, maybe some of the permission L ones were kind of coming up at the time. So we felt like the right move was to like try to do what we can to prevent that. So it's still like kind of it's still, I mean, it definitely still happened after we shut it down. It was just way harder to do it. And I think we made the right decision because yeah, like people stuck around, Pump.Fun, Photon, Bonk, Axion, like all these projects came out, and yeah, Solana's like definitely in the lead after that. So that was like definitely probably the most stressful time that I've had at Jito.
Was there a lot of external pressure coming from like users or sort of partners in the ecosystem, or was it just like you knew that, like a combination of that, but also like, hey, you felt that wasn't right?
Yeah, there wasn't like a ton of pressure. I think it was just people, every once in a while someone would say something. And yeah, no one was like, you guys need to shut this down. And we talked about it.
Anatoly didn't give you a call?
No, that's like the conspiracy theory. Like someone at Solana Foundation. There was definitely people that were like, don't shut it down. That were
MAV like profit maximalists, or
yeah. Yeah, I think it's just easy to get stuck like with the status quo. Like, oh, it's fine. But no, we debated it several times internally, and I think eventually we decided to shut it down. But yeah, I'm glad we did that, and it's definitely in a much better state now.
You mentioned this framework of sort of this like political spectrum of MEV where people on one end, it's like, yeah, decel, focus on users and like safety. On the other end, capitalism, sort of open MEV for everybody. Seems like I feel like that view just isn't as prevalent these days as much. But
Yeah.
as someone who follows it closely, sort of, what do you think the current sort of views are, and how has that changed in the past few years?
I feel like most people are massively like protect users and apps at this point. The pie is still very small, and like L2s are not gonna like sandwich people or like do things that hurt users because they want users to come trade on their L2.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's a lot more focus on apps and users now, and I think there's definitely some people that still have this view. It's not like a binary thing. I think there's a lot of different shades of it, but I would say it's like the thing that people should be thinking about is apps and users. That's what makes Sol go up. Like whenever Trump launches Memecoin, that was like the peak Solana because everyone was buying Sol to go trade it. So like that's like, no, we don't need that exactly again, but we need stuff like that where there's just these massive events and like incredible applications that people are using.
And on this note, what are your thoughts on maybe how the meme coin market structure evolved in the past few years? Because that's maybe another one where some would argue like there's been sort of less healthy practices in whether it's like sniping for launches or Mev sort of early on in a coin's life cycle, or just like someone owning a ton of the supply. I'm sure you've like thought a lot about it, but what are your thoughts like overall?
I think everyone is participating in these permissionless markets, and they need to kind of accept what's going on and know what they're getting into. I don't think a lot of it is super great, but also at the same time, like no one can stop it. So yeah, I would say that like there are permissionless markets, people can do what they want. And I do think it was really good for the Solana network that it happened. From like a user standpoint, just bringing more users on chain, and also just from stress testing the network. Like we learned a ton, all the core engineers learned a ton, and that's why Solana is so good today, is because that happened. I think other networks can only dream of getting that activity.
Yeah, no, very fair. Are there things about that meme market structure where you hope it'll evolve sort of differently in the coming years? Like if it was up to you, again, it's not, but sort of if you had more sort of control, what would you sort of like to see from any angle?
I think the social aspect's pretty interesting, like the stuff that FOMO is doing.
Yeah.
So just better discovery. But at the end of the day, like it is like all that stuff is a small part of the industry, and it is a casino. So I think like people need to, there's all this like fair launch meme coin stuff and things that people have tried, but I feel like that is not what people are looking for that play those games. They're kind of just going to the casino.
You guys were working on the client, got it to from like 4% market share to over 90. Like what was that like sort of when you guys got to 90? Like what did, I believe by that time you had already launched the token, but what did that feel like, just sort of having like real PMF?
Pretty stressful. There's a lot of stuff that was breaking. Sure. I think when the token launched December 2023, and I think we made like $3 million that year in tips. Sure. And then the next year it was right around like 30, 40, 50% stake. And then a year later it was like $500 million or $600 million in tips and 90% stake. And it's pretty stressful because like there's a ton of people using the network. The core validator client, like the software just had a lot of improvement to do. So like, as I mentioned earlier, we were kind of like Cloudflare for Solana.
Yeah.
So we were just getting hammered. The network was getting hammered. A lot of stuff was breaking. And yeah, it was pretty stressful. I mean, it was a good kind of stressful too. Like, okay, we have PMF. We just need to like make this stuff work and make it work better. But yeah, it was pretty fun. A lot of like weekends and late nights getting things working. But yeah, I feel like that was cool because a lot of the infra is like behind the scenes. Like,
Yeah.
People don't really realize it's there, but yeah, I think we made like a pretty big impact. Like when the Trump, I think it's Melania, when that token launched, our infra just completely crashed. Because Trump launched, did Trump launch before that?
Trump was before.
Yeah. So then people are like, oh, I missed that. So then when Melania came, that was even bigger. And our infra died. And then the network just like kind of crawled to a halt. So when that happened, I was like, oh, our infra is like really doing something here. But yeah, it was just cool to see that. And like whenever we launched the token, we were like one of the first token launches of that kind of era. And we decided to like really bottom weight the token launch to give a lot of people that had believed in Jito soul and the validators a ton of money. So yeah, we were hoping that we kind of like created this like flourishing ecosystem on Solana, because that's kind of what happened with the Uniswap airdrop, where they just like airdropped a ton of money to people that didn't have much, and then they went and used it on chain. And so we saw that kind of with Jito too.
I feel like a lot of teams try to copy that approach where they distribute a bunch of tokens. A lot of the time, it doesn't engender much user loyalty at all.
Yeah.
I feel like for you guys, for Uniswap, for Hyperliquid, it was a little different. Like, why do you think, why do you think it was different for you guys?
Well, we were the first, I think some people didn't think that we were going to launch a token, and then others, we were like the first one, and we were one of the first like 3 to launch a token in 2023.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are just kind of like twiddling their thumbs waiting for stuff to happen, and we're like, no, we're gonna like make it happen. Right. So when we did it, I think it was a big surprise, and I think that there's like 9,000 wallets that got it.
Okay.
So then there was like probably a little bit of sibling, but now like after that, I think people saw like, oh, like I missed like 10K or something like that.
Right.
And then there was like these mass Sybil operations.
Okay.
And like
industrial. Yeah,
like if we would have run the same algorithm, it would have been like hundreds of thousands or millions of wallets.
So you guys were early to the trend, which meant sort of it was more targeted and more effective at getting to the actual people you wanted to target.
Yeah. I think, and yeah, we like there was some Sybil kind of activity that we caught and filtered out. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you would have done it, I don't think anyone could have replicated that, because the on-chain environment was like way different after that happened. Like, yeah, you just had a ton of people sibling or using like 10 wallets to do everything. And yeah, I think it would have been hard. So I think people had to kind of like adjust for it.
And you launched in the token in late 2023.
Yeah.
Soul price was like what, $20 at this time, or what was, I don't remember. Okay, it was like 60, 70. Okay. So it was like a bit of an uptrend, but still like pretty far from 2021 highs.
Yeah.
Did you guys think a lot about the environment into which you were launching the token? Because I feel like that's something we see today, where founders are hesitant to launch into what they perceive as a bear market. Like even right now, a lot of teams are postponing their launch, which on the one hand, like I do empathize with. Like if you have a set amount of money you're trying to raise in that token launch, launching into a bad market, you might not even hit it. On the other hand, launching into like a heated market and maximizing for sort of fundraise amount and valuation, like sort of does that like, are down only charts good as well? Like people hate it. Curious if you have a view on that, or if that's even something you guys thought about.
We had a few people tell us not to launch and to kind of wait.
Yeah.
But I think it like paired nicely. Like we knew if Solana is going to be successful, you need a lot of people trading, and we wanted to get a lot of tokens to the smaller people to kind of create this like massive wealth effect on chain. And so yeah, I don't think we really like waiting around for like other people to do stuff at Jito. We kind of just like to like make it happen and be in charge of our own destiny. Because I think if you're waiting, it's like you can just keep waiting and like what is the cutoff for when you decide to launch? Is it like vibes, or do you have like a KPI like Sol needs to be 130, or like what do you do?
Right.
So yeah, I think it was just like just send it and just do it. Yeah. And I think we wanted to like kind of throw fuel on the fire for Jito, Sol, and the validator client as well. So that was kind of like the one big bang to throw fire on that. But yeah, I think if I was a founder now, I think now would be like now over the next probably 6 to 12 months would be a good time to launch as well.
Just because you think launching into like I don't know, you could debate whether it's like a real bear market or not, but you just think there's advantages to launching when others aren't.
Because yeah, I think you get more attention. CT has the attention span of a goldfish.
Right.
So like, yeah, whenever we announced it, definitely in our own bubble, but I feel like a lot of people are talking about that, and that's kind of all they were talking about.
Right.
And yeah, I think like some people will do like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 month windows. Like OpenSea announced they were going to launch a token like how many months ago?
A while ago.
And then they said they're going to postpone it, and like all this stuff. And yeah, I think Backpack launched today. Their token launched today. But yeah, I think like just like surprising people and trying to compress that time would go a long way. But I mean, it's also a different era too. Like that was kind of like the points meta. Right. Like I think Margin Fi did points, and then we did points, and then a bunch of other people did points as well. So yeah, it's a little different, but I think I would still probably launch now or in like the next 6 months.
You mentioned CT being sort of having the attention of a goldfish. CT's crypto Twitter has been like still an important part of crypto. I'm sure it was like super important for you guys historically and continues to be. You, however, are spending less time there now. You told me you don't have it on your phone, sort of, which is probably a very healthy thing that more people should do. But just maybe talk to me more about just how your usage of Twitter has maybe evolved.
I'm still definitely trying to figure it out. I think the thing for me is like, I want to be more present when I'm like hanging out with friends or family or my wife. Yeah. So like just pulling it up at like a restaurant and just like doom scrolling, or like if someone would say something, like my wife could just see my like face flip. It just like ruined the mood of everything. And then yeah, like if you like close the app and reopen it, like just like muscle memory, it's like, okay, this is bad. So yeah, I got rid of it off my phone like probably 6 months ago. And yeah, definitely happier. There's not really like that much where you need to be present on Twitter immediately. Right. If something is, then like someone on my team will flag it. But yeah, just trying to be a little more like calculated in it. Like if I stop posting, I think people think that like we're checked out or something. Yeah. Which is definitely not the case. Like we're grinding. Right. But yeah, like being on it constantly is just like not very productive, and it's just like causes more context switching too.
What do you try to get out of sort of CT or like the market generally? Like, are there specific pieces of information about like the market or the industry that you track? Is it more like, hey, customer first, user first, that's what we should care the most about? I'm sure it's like a combination of both, but what does get past your filter in terms of things you do care about?
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything. Yeah. Obviously, like Mert's on there a lot. He's probably the exact opposite of me on this regard. Yeah. But yeah, I would say that like feedback, market sentiment, Like new products that we're launching and podcasts are showing up there. And yeah, just kind of like, I definitely have like a pretty Solana heavy Twitter feed.
Yeah.
So just kind of like keeping pulse on what's going on. And like every once in a while, there's like some good Mev stuff going on that someone will tweet about. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything. And then, yeah, trying to share, definitely doing like some shit posting and then trying to share some like longer form thoughts on there.
What's the message to the team now? Like you've been working on Jito for what, 5 years now? The token's been live for a couple of years, which is a pretty long time for projects. Like you see a lot of projects that launch the token, even with like good products with PMF, but the token goes up, it goes down, like there's lots of volatility and the team sort of checks out. Like it happens all the time.
Yeah.
What's been your message to the team to sort of just keep them engaged, keep everyone motivated?
Yeah.
Not that,
yeah.
and maybe they don't need, maybe they are motivated already, but like just what is it like?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't
They're
see.
definitely very motivated.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this is kind of relevant because we had our team offsite last week. And I think the message, like we're still so early and like crypto and blockchain hasn't done really anything at all. It's still very niche. And so the opportunity in front of us, especially like, I think blockchains, the best thing that blockchains are the best for trading. And so if you think that if you're bullish on blockchains, you're bullish on DeFi, you're bullish on like all this kind of like deregulation, getting stocks and securities on chain, then like we're like less than 1% of the way there. And there's still so much opportunity ahead of us. It's like, yeah, all the numbers, like 90% market share, blah, blah, blah. Like that stuff's cool.
Right.
But like the opportunity in front of us is so much bigger. And so I think we have a really good team that believes in that, and that has been like their vision from day one. Yeah. So I think that's been helpful. And yeah, I think we're kind of an exciting time in Jito too, because I think we are like kind of more traditionally an infra company, and we're going to start kind of dipping our toes into other things and like have closer relationships with our users, where like I think people kind of like all infra is kind of undervalued, and people just don't see it, so they don't really think about it, where like a lot of the stuff that people interact with every day, they're like constantly thinking about it.
And are you referring to BAM or is it other stuff you guys are working
newer
on?
Products.
Newer products.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, we'll announce it later this year, but yeah, it's just more kind of like user facing and like
own the user relationship directly.
Yeah. And yeah, there's some stuff that like doesn't exist on Solana that we think should. Yeah. And so yeah, we're excited to like dip our toes in that. And I think the team's pretty excited about that too, because we're kind of like more behind the scenes, like infra. Like how often do people interact with Jito? Like you stake Jito Sol once and you like, unless you're like a DeFi degen, like you're not using it all the time.
Check the stake every day.
Yeah.
See how much yield it's accumulating.
Yeah, like 0.0001% or something. It's kind of like a lazy thing. And then like on the Jito transactions, like all the apps and whatever use it behind the scenes. And like, I mean, it's been great, but I think we, as I mentioned earlier, like we want to kind of like do more and do what we can to manifest Solana being the place where everyone uses it. So I think there's some gaps to fill, and we're going to fill those.
Got it. Okay. I mean, you answered my next question, which was going to be like, look, you guys have historically been an infra company, and it is still really early, as you said. Mm-hmm. Sort of how do you view your role and Jito's role in terms of bringing forward that future? Because again, up till maybe sort of now, a lot of it has been maybe out of your hands. Like you can improve the infra, you can improve uptime, but ultimately like new products being built, whether it's trading or perps or social or maybe gaming or whatever, the market will decide ultimately and other builders. But again, sounds like you guys are taking a more direct approach now, which will be exciting to see.
Yeah.
Has that involved like a slightly different approach for how you guys are building?
Yeah, it's going to be way different. So I think that's like another thing that our team is looking forward to as well, is just like we're more behind the scenes. and like infra. And so like making, adding kind of this new vertical within Jito is just gonna like require a lot of new lessons to learn and like new practices and things like that. Things that we haven't looked at before a ton, like retention and like growth marketing and all this stuff. So yeah, and I think it's like, that there's a ton of killer apps on Solana, but I think we haven't really played around in that area yet, and I think we can do more to make Solana super successful, and we have the capital and the team to do it. So yeah, we're gonna send in and see what happens.
Nice. And how do you want to balance building the direct user facing apps along with the infra? Like,
Yeah.
maybe they're related in some way, but is it somewhere where you'll almost have separate work streams and dedicated teams to maintaining?
Yeah, there will definitely be some cross collaboration here, and the infra stuff's like still super important for us.
It's the foundation.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do there. BAM's at like 30% of stake today.
Right.
It needs to be at much more. And we have a lot of like really good apps and prop AMMs that are working on things inside of BAM today. But yeah, I think we also don't want to like distract the team that's currently working on BAM with new stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of like shifting some stuff around and building out some new teams, and like we're hiring a head of product, which we haven't had before, and like some other roles to kind of turn this vision into a reality. So there will definitely be some cross collaboration there, and like I think there's things that we can add on like both sides on the infra to make this app better and all the other apps better. Instead of like relying on apps to build stuff, we can just go build it ourselves, and then vice versa too.
And how are you personally sort of learning about what it's like to like build maybe an application first company? Like you have the infra, maybe, I don't know if that's accurate, like to say your app first, but you have the infra, you have the app. Building an app is different in a lot of ways. Like, is it something where you're like sort of learning from other founders, like working with your investors, or is it similar to before where it's just like, hey, just focus on the users, everything will come one day at a time?
Maybe we should talk in like 9 months
Okay.
about it
and see how it's going. Yeah,
it's still pretty early.
Sure.
But yeah, just like trying to, I think it's all about the users. I think there's like a few other things that I've kind of learned from like reading and talking to others that were like kind of like principles for building things that get used, that we've taken a lot of like lessons from our current infra and like the pain points there, some stuff that I've read and others have read, and like kind of using that to think about the product. And then also like we have a really good like front end and designers and things like that internally at Jito as well, that have seen great success at their previous companies, and some of them were at FTX, so they like saw that really grow. And so I kind of just like trying to act like a sponge at this point and listen to a lot of people and read and watch what others are doing.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you don't need to like reinvent the wheel in terms of just like whatever you guys are working on. Like there's a plethora of resources and sort of things that I feel like you can lean on. But overall, how would you compare sort of building in Solana in 2026 as an ecosystem compared to earlier? And I know it's evolved quite a bit. Like you had the pre-FTX era and the 2021 tops to like the 2023 sort of nadir. But like overall, do you enjoy building in Solana more now? Obviously, it's like bigger, there's more traction, but like, how do you feel about building in Solana today?
Yeah, I think it's the best time to build in Solana. It's definitely way more competitive than it was when we started, because it is like the popular thing now.
Yeah.
So like every company has at least 2 or 3 competitors, and if you don't have one yet, then you're gonna have one soon. So I think that is kind of It's more challenging, but it's also more fun because I think you need to be a little more strategic about it. You kind of need to be thinking like multiple steps ahead. I would say it's much easier to build faster on Solana than it used to be. There's more documentation, there's more code. Of course, like all the LLMs have picked up all the coding practices and like what is Solana, and just LLMs in general, like that wasn't really a thing back in 2021.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely easier to build faster and get to market faster. And yeah, I think the core infra has just gotten so much better.
Right.
Too. Like the network's just running really smooth. It's processing transactions super fast. They're super cheap. Block space is going to double, and like all these big protocol improvements are coming that like the average user doesn't really care or know what's going on. Their experience is just going to get like 2 or 3 times better. And so like if you're building on it now, the foundation is changing from under you, which like depending on what you're doing, if you're in the block building business, maybe not the best because it's changing from underneath you.
Right.
If you're in the application build business or like you're building a DEX or something, it's great because like the network's just getting better and better, and that means more money for you, and hopefully the price of SOL goes up as well.
In terms of you mentioned like it's the best time to be building. It's like way easier. The infra is more mature. Is that, I'm assuming that's a combination of stuff that you guys and other projects are working on, but also stuff that the core teams sort of built. Can you sort of curious your thoughts there?
Yeah, the core team's been killing it. I think they like probably 2 years ago, I feel like there's kind of like some interesting stuff going on where like Fire Dancer came out. So that kind of added a little competition on the client side. And then also like they kind of had to stop pushing as many features, these like large changes in the code base, to wait for Fire Dancer to catch up somewhat. The Fire Dancer team, they have a super difficult challenge. Like there's like 10 layers to the Solana onion, and they have to understand all of them super well, and they're constantly changing. And so like if Anza, the core development team, just kept moving and moving forward, then they would basically probably never finish Fire Dancer. So I think there's like, okay, let's pause, or let's slow things down a little bit on like new features and just get what we have working super well. So they've been diving into, the network's gotten super reliable for the past like 2 years or 3 years. They have some really cool tooling that's basically letting them go in and like figure out where all the bottlenecks are. Right. So the core network is getting like really fast. So yeah, like Anza and Fire Dancer, those guys are doing really good work to make the network way faster.
Got it. If there was one thing you could change about Solana, and it could be literally anything. It could be like the social layer. It could be something technical. It could be sort of how like how projects are supported. Like it could be literally anything. But if it was up to you, is there something specific that you'd want to sort of see a little differently?
Just moving even faster than we are today, especially on the business side.
Got it.
It's like more apps targeting more users. Because yeah, I think that's all that
it's always the battle.
Yeah. And I like, for a while we were the top blockchain, and now I think Hyperliquid is kicking our ass. So there's a lot of work to do on the user side and like applications and kind of like all the way down the stack to create something better.
And do you think it's going after folks sort of similar to yourself? Is it going after a lot of folks are going after like institutions now, and then sort of B2B, whether it's like payments or stuff like that? Sort of what are the segments where if you had a magic wand, you'd be like, we have 50 more developers from like these segments?
I would say
could be all of them.
Trading.
Yeah, trading, okay.
Just trading.
Like quants specifically?
Quants would definitely help, but just more go-to-market. People are focused on go-to-market and trading.
Got it.
Because yeah, I think like payments are great. It's gonna, you can do that today on Solana. Doesn't really generate a ton of fees.
Right.
Institutions just move so slow they're finally like moving now, and people have been giving podcast talks and like panels on institutions
since you started in crypto. Yeah. Institutions are coming to crypto. That was the original 2018 pitch.
Yeah, they are here now. Like we have all the Sol ETFs, and there's like Jito Sol ETFs. Like there's like LST DeFi ETFs that you can buy, that like our parents could buy. So they're definitely here. But the thing that I think blockchains are really good for is trading, and that also generates a lot of fees because people are willing to pay fees to like trade fast.
So do you think it's just like more types of trading apps, like
more assets,
diversity, more assets? Okay,
I think more assets is the big one. So like more assets, better apps. If we have a lot of like retail people trading on Solana, then all the market makers will continue to come on Solana. Like Sol USDC, all the majors on Solana are super deep, and the spreads are tighter than Binance, tighter than any centralized exchange. So the best place to buy Solana is on Solana, and best place to buy Ethereum is on Solana. It's the cheapest place. So we just need more assets, and like you can imagine if you like the cool thing about Robinhood is you have one app and you can buy everything. And that it's definitely getting better on Solana. There's like more stocks, more commodities, things like that. I would say like there's still a lot of like trust involved. I don't know how you get rid of that, but with like holding those assets. But there needs to be more trading, more assets, and like there shouldn't really ever be a reason to leave Solana. But you can imagine like if you're trading something and you want to buy, like, I don't know, like we were joking at the offsite, like you want like a SIM card futures in like Africa, or like soybean like oil or whatever. Like you should be able to buy
something very specific.
Because if you like want to buy that and you can't, then like now you have to like transfer money to somewhere else to do it, and it kind of just like fragments the whole thing. But you can't list everything day one too, because there's not a ton of liquidity. So like figuring out how to sequence that and how to get things that people want to trade in like a timely manner. Because like you probably saw like crude oil on Hyperliquid is just doing really well.
Insane.
And that's like right time, right place. They move fast, and they're just killing it right now.
So you think it comes down to sort of issuers and someone creating like spot exposure? You could have spot, you could have synthetic, you could have there's lots of ways to do it. Do you think there's like one, maybe with synthetic you can move a little bit quicker, spot sort of maybe that's like a deeper relationship, but what would be like in your minds the right setup for these types of products on Solana, whether
probably
it's
perps.
Okay,
probably perps, and then just like a really killer go to market on it. To like, you can build it, but like that doesn't mean people are going to use it. I think a lot of engineers just get in this like they just build cool stuff and then pray that people will use it. And you have to like go to market and grind it out to get people using it. So I think combination of like more assets and better trading experience. I actually do think this is one thing that like, I don't know if the Solana Foundation or others are involved in this, but like listing Hyperliquid on Solana, listing Monad on Solana, Fogo, I'm sure Backpack's listed. What else? Like Zcash, like just doesn't matter where it is or what it's from, just like list it on Solana and get the people trading.
I saw like Monad and Hyperliquid, they're also available on Solana. Is that specific perp dexes that have listed it, or is there some like central?
It's like I think Sunrise.
Got it.
Yeah, you can trade all those on spot and maybe perps too on Solana. So you don't have to like bridge or anything to get it.
What is like the typical Solana founder you come across these days in crypto? I'm sure you, as a builder, you see like a lot. Is there like a specific archetype? Maybe it's so big at this point, there isn't one. But I mean, from my standpoint, it seems like the average Solana founder is sort of like maybe more commercial and less like idealistic than a lot of other chains.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I kind of think of it like academic first, like Silicon Valley. tech bro. Those are like the academic, super academic, nerdy, and then tech bro. That's like the entire spectrum.
Okay.
Not saying everyone on Solana is a tech bro or like everyone on Ethereum is like a nerdy academic person,
Sure.
but I do think they tend to like be somewhere on that side. So like, yeah, focused on like real businesses with real money and real revenue, as opposed to like, yeah, like I worked on this research paper for like 12 months and like shipped a prototype or something like that.
Very, very
You definitely do need both. I think Solana could benefit from a lot of research at the core protocol and probably like DEX design and other things like that. And we could benefit from more research at Jito too on like auction design and things like that. And then Ethereum could probably benefit from like real business people, or more aggressive business people are focusing more on revenue.
Yeah, makes sense.
If I don't piss anyone off with that.
I mean, I don't think
I'm in
I don't think what you're saying is. I think a lot of people would agree. Like on, again, you're not on Twitter as much, but like the EF put out that manifesto a few weeks back, almost sort of going against what the direction's been for the past year of like, hey, supporting apps, supporting stable coins, sort of returning to its more like idealistic roots. You can take, like, different folks can interpret it however they want, but definitely some people on Twitter interpret it as like, yeah, they're not as commercial focused anymore, which so I think it's like a perfectly reasonable read of the situation. And frankly, that is the counter positioning that Solana should be using. Like if you're trying to attract commercially minded folks, like that, I'm not saying that's like a perfect strategy. Like maybe there's some academics or researchers that you'll miss, but like that's a perfectly valid positioning in my opinion.
Yeah. I think I have like zero insight into the EF politics or like anything that's going on there.
No reason for you to.
But there's definitely like, I think Tempo has kind of sucked up a lot of those people.
Right.
Like I think Dankrad and other people from EF are involved in the core kind of Ethereum community are now it's kind of interesting. They're leaving, which I think, makes sense. But yeah, I think maybe they're kind of shining a light on what's going on inside too, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, hopefully they figure it out. Solana definitely has a lot to figure out too. It's not perfect. By
No
any
one's
means.
done. No one's done yet.
Yeah, it's just the least shitty version of it.
Very, very fair. One thing we haven't touched on at all is sort of DC. Like you guys have actually been quite active in DC. Like Rebecca's been she has a presence there. You guys have sort of financial products that are regulated and accessible to the public. But just talk to me about what it's been like to build up that part of the company, build up that part of your sort of personal knowledge base.
Yeah.
It's a very different muscle from everything else we've talked about.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was Rebecca came to me. She did a lot of policy work before when she was at Polygon and like Aave and other places, and just started kind of like throwing me these opportunities. Like, do you want to talk to these people?
Right.
And I think that has been super valuable. We've seen that pay off in like some of the conversations that the senators are having publicly. So like on like 501c4s, getting foundations back into the US. I think there was a senator or congressman that mentioned that in a kind of a panel, or I don't know what the formal word for it is, but they mentioned that in front of others.
Co-commission maybe?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, so there's like stuff like that, like liquid staking. We were the first crypto team to go visit the new SEC crypto task force.
Mike Selig is the liquid staking man.
Yeah. Like there's that. We're talking to congressmen, senators, and just like trying to tell our story and why this is so important. So I think a lot of people don't have this opportunity. Whether it's like they're not there yet or like maybe they don't want to get involved. So we're trying to like speak on behalf of all crypto founders and like telling our story and like yeah, like telling the story of how Brian, the head of the Jito Foundation, tried to move to Switzerland for a year because he was scared to work. Like there's a bunch of tax and legal stuff that you're not supposed to be in the U.S. for. Or it's, I guess you can be in the U.S. It's just riskier.
Right.
So
Is he back in the U.S. now, or
he is,
good
yeah.
for him? Huh.
So yeah, like he went through his whole process for a year and like telling that story and like talking about how we need founders here in the US has been like one of the main focuses. And then of course there's like the liquid staking, airdrops, more recently like Mev, in like educating them on transaction ordering and how these networks work and all that. There's been some I think the more you like, I'm definitely not super in the loop, but there are I think we like when we go there, we want to talk about us and like the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
And then there's other companies that try to tear other blockchains down. So that's like, I mean, getting more political too. Right. So there's just like a lot of education that we have to do there because like other people are just saying nonsense.
Right.
So that's pretty frustrating.
It's almost like if you don't have somewhat of a presence there, there's no one speaking up and defending you.
Yeah.
As well as fighting for your interests, obviously, but just, yeah, there's no one to defend you.
Yeah.
Except yourself.
Yeah.
So.
And they're definitely more open to it now compared to previous administrations.
Right.
Previous administrations, someone told me they like didn't even want to write their name on the check-in letter at the SEC, like on the check-in book, because they were worried Gary was going to go through it and like find them. Yeah. And now it's like, you know, hop on a call with them and explain like what MEV is or what liquid staking is or things like that. And then, I think the senators, congressmen, and congresswomen are very interested as well. Because I think it's like it's becoming more mainstream. Maybe they have like their children or their nieces and nephews are like starting to play around with it a little more. And so that's actually like a surprising number of like congressmen, congresswomen discovered crypto because like their people in their family started playing with it and like asked them about it or told them about it. They're like, I need to look into this a little more.
Best way to, it's a good way to build some sort of interest, I guess.
But yeah, it's a very interesting place. I've been there like 3 or 4 times maybe. And yeah, we'll continue to be involved where necessary. But yeah, I think if you are not there and advocating for yourself or the industry, then someone else is going to, and they might be advocating for something that you don't believe in. So you gotta speak up.
Fair enough. If I think about our conversation today, MEV has probably been like the big constant. That was your initial entryway. That was the initial wedge that helped you gain adoption. There's a lot more to it, but I think we can all give a lot of credit to Flashbots in the early days for sort of being involved in the paper that you mentioned early on, really setting an example for a lot of things that people sort of looked into early on in the MEV days. Obviously, it's evolved a lot. There's like a ton of players now, but as someone who used their infra and like read their research, what have you, and probably seen them over the years, what have you learned from sort of just watching Flashbots as a company, as like a research group? Because again, products aside, they've played a pretty just interesting role in terms of like creating the category, really.
I mean, they basically created the category. And yeah, they are really good. I think they're pretty good at marketing or like go to market. Have been in the past for sure. I think they, as like when we were talking about like the research versus like commercial side, I think they have been really good on the research side. And that's something that we look to a lot. So yeah, like we've had conversations with them. We don't talk to them super frequently, but we've talked about like TEs and things like that. Because BAM is pretty heavily inspired by BuilderNet with like some tweaks of our own to kind of take things in the direction that we want to go in. But they're very good at like research, technical research, auction design, things like that. And so, I think they've been like a huge service to the industry and just like markets and permissionless markets as a whole.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, they've been around for quite a while, and I'm sure they'll continue to be influential. So we'll see. What would you say has been one thing you've maybe changed your mind on recently? It could be anything. It could be like with how you've built the product. It could be sort of specific themes in the ecosystem.
I think the first one is probably like the MEV acceleration. I think I kind of bought into that vision a little bit. And when I first started Jito, and then changed. So that was like, that's the first thing I can think of.
Lucas, I think this was a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me.